Tonight on CTV News, an earthquake is found throughout the South Island. Could new cameras catch you for speeding? And a monkey needs a name. Can you help?
Broadcasting across Canterbury. From the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Kia ora, good evening. For the second time in less than 2 weeks, a large earthquake has rocked the South Island. This time, a 5.8 hit near Wanaka at around 2:30 this afternoon, similar to the 6.3 that hit Kaikoura last month. No serious damage has been reported, but the rolling quake was felt across the region. To other news now, some North Island drivers are already on edge with news red light cameras will be trialled at some of their worst intersections. But don't rest easy yet, Christchurch. The cameras may soon be on their way to you. Here's Marcus Gibbs.
No one enjoys waiting at the lights. It's frustrating when you want to get to your destination as soon as possible. But it seems Christchurch drivers are some of the worst offenders when it comes to running those yellows and reds.
Intersections are one of our biggest risks in Christchurch and would be probably around a third of our crashes.
In Wellington and Auckland, the police will soon be monitoring red light breaches in 2 of the country's busiest intersections. The camera has the ability to record the number plates of the cars running reds, and that technology could soon make its way here.
It's always been a big problem in Christchurch. It contributes to a significant number of crashes. So we're doing a lot of enforcement around that, and obviously a camera would help that.
Last year, the Christchurch Transport Operations Centre told CTV News Christchurch drivers were some of the worst when it comes to running red lights. Since their cameras started running nearly 2 years ago, this team has uncovered hundreds, if not thousands, of red light offenders.
So lights have changed, and here's this truck driving through on a red light. And here's a car driving through on a red light, even worse.
It seems the problem is getting worse since the earthquakes, as frustrations over constant roadworks come to a head.
We do a lot of enforcement around intersections, but with the displacement of people with the earthquake and the roadworks, there's a lot of people get frustrated and impatient, and we do see a lot of people running lights, and that puts everyone at risk.
Most crashes at lights happen around 9 in the morning and 5 at night during rush hour.
It would seem that people are taking some fairly high risks compared to what they would have traditionally taken.
So where's the place to avoid if you don't want to end up with a ding in the front of your car?
Obviously the inner city is a big problem with the lights around the 4 Avs and all the major arterial routes right out through the north and south of the city.
It won't be long before Christchurch drivers start to get caught if they run a red.
Hopefully in the next year or so we should see them here in Christchurch.
It may not be a popular decision, but it's in your best interests if you don't want serious damage to your car from a collision. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Well, there's a lot of things you could do over a weekend, maybe mowing the lawns or heading away on a short holiday. But for hundreds of up-and-coming Canterburyan filmmakers, they were celebrating the success of the 48-hour Film Festival Challenge. Well, most of them. The mad rush to the finish line. Massive crowds at this Christchurch bar, a sign of success. Nearly 100 Canterbury teams took up this year's challenge to create a short 7-minute film in just 48 hours. The competition has been running nationwide for 13 years, with teams having just 1 weekend to write, shoot and edit their film. It's a fast turnaround, but that's what brings out the crowds every year.
It's a creative event, and like being creative and making stuff is really fun. You get to do it with your friends, and I think the kind of pressure cooker element of it makes it particularly enjoyable because like you kind of go a bit mental over the weekend, and it kind of puts all of your faculties to the test.
The groups are given a genre at random with some other criteria they need to use at 7 o'clock Friday night and have to come up with a concept. Some of these previous entries were from Christchurch, winning the regional finals but not quite good enough to take it out. So who will win this year? The entries could be anything from musical, rom-com or this against the odds film. Todd's been doing this role for 5 years, and before that he was competing as a filmmaker in the competition, and he says it's changed a lot from when he started.
Getting really cinematic results has been much easier, and so the playing field's been leveled a lot in terms of production value, which means that script writing and acting and directing is much more important, because you can't just have a nice camera and wow everybody, because everybody's got a nice camera now.
Some teams were more organised than others, handing in their film with hours to spare. But there was heartbreak for some teams who didn't quite make the deadline.
The real heartbreaking point comes when you actually watch the films and then you see the ones that didn't make it that are like really good and you're like, oh God, oh, what happened? But and that happens every year as well.
This team felt the pain, unable to complete the task at hand.
We were just sitting in the car park with the laptop. It was still trying to format. We got here probably like with 15 minutes to spare, but the thing was still processing.
What often happens is it's the rendering at the end when it's just like you're basically fighting against your computer's processing power. And like we had a couple people with laptops out in the car park who were just like sort of screaming at their laptops to go faster.
Although their entry was disqualified from judging, the boys were happy that their film would be played at the screening. It may be the finish line for the teams involved, but not for Todd. He'll spend another 11 and a half hours watching every single movie.
Well, I'm going to go home tonight and I'm going to start watching films, basically. And then over the next couple of days, I'll watch 100 short films.
So what brings him back to this every year?
I just love seeing everybody kind of clustered together and just like really excited that they made a film.
So Todd will be getting the popcorn ready while others celebrate, with the screening of the films taking place later on in the week. And it's time for some sleep too. Jared McCulloch, CTV News. Fantastic work. Well, still to come here on CTV News, a local basketballer has been headhunted by the US and a piece of Canterbury history drives again.
Hi, I'm Chris Lynch. Join me every Monday at 8:30 on CTV as we discuss the issues affecting you, your family and everything to do with Canterbury. That's CTV 8:30 right here.
Computer not working? Replace or repair? DIY or get a technician? Looking for parts? Thinking of upgrading? Need accessories? You've got questions, we've got answers. Global PC.
The preparation, the devotion, the fearlessness, the intensity. Runway model management. First impressions are everything.
Made to measure interiors, made with care, made for you.
Join Graham Sinclair and the team at Gone Fishing as they bring you great stories, fishing tips and beautiful scenery. Gone Fishing, Friday night at 8:30, right here on CTV.
And welcome back to CTV News. Well, history was made today with one of Christchurch's most significant fire engines. It was the first on the scene of the Ballantyne's fire back in 1947. Found abandoned in a paddock, it's since been painstakingly restored. Marcus Gibbs went on its first road ride in decades.
There's nothing quite like the sound of this classic fire engine in full roar. This 1945 Ford V8, still ticking over, 70 years on.
I'm a petrol head from Hells, and to hear the old flathead Mercury start up is just listen to that motor.
It's been meticulously restored since it was found rusting in a paddock 24 years ago.
This is probably the most important project we've ever undertaken.
It carries historical significance. It was the first fire engine to arrive at the Ballantyne's fire in 1947.
We have two other appliances that attended the same fire, but being the first one has just been a little bit special.
That fire still remains the worst in New Zealand's history. 41 people were killed. In total, 200 firefighters and 20 engines were used to fight the blaze, and now Christchurch has this fire engine as a lasting reminder of one of the city's darkest days. 68 years on from that devastating day, what better way to celebrate the restoration of this wonderful truck than by taking it to Woolston's fire station to show an officer who went to his first fire on the back of it 45 years ago.
Watching the revelation of this thing come out, all gleaming and cleaning, and realising that this was the very first engine I ever went to a fire on. It didn't bring a tear to the eye because we're hard men here, but it felt good.
It's certainly not as reliable as the modern fire engines, but it's a powerful beast.
These are more sort of brute strength and power rather than refinement like you'd get on the more modern fire engines.
And it may be 70 years old, but it still carries pretty amazing technology inside. Even a working siren.
If you have a look actually under that bonnet there, you'll see that there's a siren of the old sort, like the air raid sirens, which is driven off a belt. Everything's electronic now. Some of them don't really seem to have the same amount of drive as the old sirens. These ones would rise and fall with the excitement of going to the fire.
This engine is in much better nick now than when Auckland City Councillor Thomas Gray found it on a farm, bought it and donated it to the Hall of Fame at the Ferrymead Heritage Park 24 years ago.
When I came in here and saw it in the shed, I was just absolutely stoked. It was a brilliant, brilliant restoration. It looks fantastic.
The team who have worked on it have fallen in love with this engine.
It was a terrible condition, really. Yeah, so all the bodywork had to be removed and start from scratch.
And all the wood underneath the bodywork itself was rotten, so we've had to strip it right back down to the chassis and rebuild everything from the driver's seat backwards.
It's cost the Fire Services Historical Society $10,000 to repair this truck, and it's taken the best part of 4 years.
Got firstly frightened by the estimates of cost when we first got the machine from Thomas, and estimates were up around $50,000-$60,000. And we thought, we've hardly got $5, so that was a bit tough.
But as more volunteers came on board, the costs came down. Altogether, around 25 people have spent time working on this. Freshly restored to its former glory, this fire engine will sit pride of place within a sizable collection of more than 80 fire appliances.
The reality is that we have a huge, huge asset here for the city, and most people don't even know it's here, and that's a bit sad.
The hope is this flagship attraction will get the punters out, and it may soon be joined by another 2 engines currently under restoration. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Very nice. Well, at the weekend, a princess was born with the arrival of a new royal family member, which still needs a name, and so does a furry creature at Willowbank Wildlife Reserve. The park is wanting suggestions from the public for their latest member, a baby monkey. Being looked after by his mum, this wee capuchin monkey is only a few days old, living here at Willowbank Wildlife Reserve. But there's just one problem. It doesn't have a name, and the animal keepers don't know its sex either. The monkey weighs just over 200 grams, that's the equivalent of a cup of rice. And the animal keeper says it's taking some time for the baby to get used to its new environment.
We like mum to be able to bond with baby for a few weeks. We will have to do a health check in probably a couple of months. When we do that, we'll check baby over, check mum over, make sure both are all okay. Obviously, then we'll be able to check sex.
Capuchin monkeys are considered one of the most intelligent in the ape family and can live up to 25 years. And Chapman says the 13th addition to the family, alongside 4 females and 7 males, is doing well.
It's a very healthy looking baby, full set of hair, all its appendages, everything normal. Mum was feeding it straight away. Both look happy, healthy, really, really cool.
They usually lie on their mother's back for some time, being looked after by her for up to a year before they start mixing in with the others. And he says they're interesting creatures, making them one of the popular attractions at the wildlife park.
There's just something about them. They have really cool personalities. They're always doing something. They have a really cool interactive enclosure. They're always moving. They get lots of feeds through the day, which keeps them going. They're always searching for food, playing. There's a lot of play that goes on.
But they're not all cute and cuddly. They can be quite dangerous too.
They can be quite aggressive. They look really cute and fluffy and cuddly, but they do have the potential to be quite nasty. They also like to get up to a lot of mischief. whether it be bridge building, boat building, going for a little bit of a swim.
Chapman has been working at the park for 5 years, now taking up the role of looking after the exotic animals a year ago. And he says he's lucky to look after so many species.
A lot of zookeepers get to work with just one species. I get to work with 150 animals a day of 24 different species, whether it's primates, otters, wallabies, deer, and exotic parrots. It's always different. There's always something different to do in a day.
Chapman says they're open to any names, male or female, with the public able to submit their pick on the park's Facebook page. But for the meantime, this wee fella will rest easy. Jared McCulloch, CTV News. Well, another Kiwi is off to play basketball for a high-profile American college, and this time it's one of the South Island's own. Here's Gordon Finlater.
The future of New Zealand basketball is looking bright. Middleton Grange student and Canterbury Rams centre Sam Timmins has become the second Kiwi youngster to sign with a high-profile American college for next year. Earlier in the year, Ty Wynnard announced he would be joining Kentucky University, and now the South Island has its own prospect to follow, with Sam Timmins announcing he will join the University of Washington, playing for the side best known as the Huskies. With a number of schools after his name, it was the college's coach that swung him in the Huskies' favour over a Skype call.
Well, my mum and dad came up from Dunedin and we all had a face-to-face talk with them, met with them for the first time, and that's what all the stuff we ran through, how he saw me fitting into the school, like the kind of workouts that I'd be doing one-on-one with him and all that. So yeah, he just gave us a really good positive vibe, so it was really, it was good to get a face to the guy that's going to be in control of you for the next 4 years.
Timmins is originally a Dunedin product, winning the National Schools title last year with Otago Boys High School. So what brought the move to Christchurch?
Really what it came down to is just the fact that there was no Nuggets, no NBL team in Dunedin anymore. Just because it would have been really a lot easier for me personally just to stay in Dunedin, stay at Otago Boys, get my grades done and all that in a comfortable environment. But just with the NBL team, there being no NBL team in Dunedin anymore, it just kind of didn't leave enough basketball there. So I just made the move to come up here and really glad with my decision.
Timmins' new side, the Rams, like all NBL sides, are allowed 2 overseas imports. The idea of the imports is to raise the standard of play in the league and to help local players get to that level. Rams American import Mikal Gladness has played college ball and even made it to the NBA. Valuable experience he can pass on to his young understudy.
When I see Sam doing something that he probably could be more efficient in, or he can do a little better, or something he's not even thinking about that I've seen already, and I know some of the situations that he can have to step up on anybody else he plays against. So yeah, anytime I see anything, whether it's Sam or anybody, but especially Sam because he's in the same position, I take him aside and I'll give him a little bit of knowledge.
Gladness even thinks that Sam has the potential to one day make it to the NBA.
If he keeps going as far as he has right now, he won that progression. I definitely think he will. He already has a chance, and just the more and more he keeps growing, and he kind of gets used to his body and learns how to use it a little more, then yeah, the sky's the limit for Sam.
Timmins still has a lot to look forward to before college as he pushes for a playoff spot with his Canterbury Rams, while he'll also be looking to go for another secondary schools title later in the year. Gordon Finlater, CTV Sport.
Well, still to come here on CTV News, the weekend sports roundup and your region's weather.
With all the latest innovations in the world of technology, Shift has everything you need to stay informed and in the know. Shift, 2:15 on Monday, right here on CTV.
Opus is recreating the heart of Canterbury. From large-scale projects to commercial buildings. Your design, your vision. Opus.
life. Colour Steel, the roof of New Zealand.
Diversity. No deposit. Instant finance. Convenience. Open 7 days. Austin Motor Company.
Drive It showcases the new arrivals to the motoring world, comparing and testing the latest models to discover which one is the best. Drive It, Sunday afternoons at 2:30, only on CTV.
And welcome back to CTV News, and now here's Gordon Finlater with a roundup of the weekend sport.
The Super Rugby tides turned on Saturday, with the top of the table Hurricanes dealing a critical blow to the usually triumphant Crusaders' playoffs hopes. The match saw the two sides fight for points in the first half, with both sides grabbing early tries to set up a second half contest, with the score at 17 points apiece. The Crusaders led 20 points to 17 early in the second half, before the Hurricanes grabbed two quick tries to give themselves the advantage heading into the dying stages of the match. It was then a matter of composure as the Hurricanes held on to the ball to get the bonus point win, 29 points to 23. The Canterbury Rams slipped to their first home loss of the NBL season on Saturday night, going down 86-76 to the Super City Rangers. The Rangers got out to a commanding lead early as the Rams struggled to deal with Jeff Green's side full court press. The Rams found themselves in foul trouble early, with the side unable to get any hometown calls in the early stages. Trailing by 20 early in the second quarter, the Rams found a bright spell towards the end of the half, with Richie Edwards dropping a couple of quick three-pointers to help the Rams halve the gap to 10 by half-time. The second half of the match was an even contest. However, the Rams struggled with rebounds as Rangers veterans Casey Franks and Dylan Boucher used all the tricks in their toolbox. The Rams did show some fight midway through the final quarter with a string of points from Ethan Rusbatch. However, the visitors didn't succumb to the late pressure, easing to victory in the end. And finally tonight, on Sunday, it was another case of Auckland getting the better of us on the court, this time in the ANZ Netball Championship, with a poor second quarter from the Tactics, sealing their fate against the Northern Mystics. The Tactics came out strong in the first quarter to hold a slim lead, before a string of errors hindered their second quarter, which saw them trail by 8 at half-time. A string of chances saw the side come out firing in the third quarter as they narrowed the gap, winning the third quarter by 4 points. The Mystics were too strong in the end though, with the shooting combination of Tutaia and Latu working their magic, while Mystics wing defence Serena Guthrie gave the Tactics headaches all night with 5 intercepts. The final score there, 61 points to 53. You're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Finlater for CTV Sport.
Thanks for that, Gordon. Now it's time for your region's weather.
Let's take a look at today's temperatures. Down in Timaru, you had a high of 19 today. Temuka and Geraldine, you were also both on 19 degrees. Ashburton and Methven shared 19. Rakaya, you were slightly cooler on 18 degrees. Darfield, Leeston and Rolleston, 18 for your Monday. Lincoln and Christchurch, also on 18 degrees. Over the hill in Akaroa, 19 degrees for your Monday. Looking to the Waimakariri district now, Rangiora, Kaipoi and Amberley all shared a high of 18. Taking a look further inland, Culverden, Hamner Springs and Cheviot took out the region's high with a warm 20 degrees. Kaikoura, 18 degrees for you. Now taking a look at tomorrow's temperatures. Timaru, fine with high cloud increasing during the day and moderate to fresh northerly winds. Tonight's low 9, tomorrow's high 19. Ashburton, a fine Tuesday ahead with high cloud and mild northeasterly winds. Tonight's low 9, tomorrow's high 18. Taking a look at the Garden City now. Sunshine at first, but high cloud increasing during the day and northeasterlies becoming breezy. Tonight's low 9, tomorrow's high 17. Kaikoura, a fine Tuesday ahead with high cloud and moderate northeasterly winds. Tonight's low getting to 9, tomorrow's high 18. And in other areas around the region, expect a day with mild temperatures and some cloud. Temuka and Geraldine, a high of 18 for you. Methven and Rakaya, also 18 degrees for your Tuesday. Darfield, Leeston and Rolleston, you can all expect a high of 18 degrees. Looking at Lincoln now, a high of 18 for you. Over in Akaroa, fine with a high of 18. Rangiora, Kaipoi and Amberley all sharing a high of 18 degrees tomorrow. And up north in Culverden, Hamner Springs and Cheviot, slightly warmer with a high of 19. Now looking ahead for Canterbury, thick high cloud on Wednesday with some light rain at times during the day, mostly during the afternoon, fresh mild northerly winds decreasing. Mostly fine and sunny on Thursday with mild temperatures and moderate northeasterlies. Mild northeasterlies freshening and high cloud increasing on Friday, but a cool blustery southwest change in the evening. You might need your brollies as it will bring with it a few brief thundery showers. Becoming fine and sunny on Saturday morning with northeasterlies developing, high cloud increasing later. Fine and mild next Sunday with high cloud increasing and moderate northerly winds. And that's your weather update for Monday.
Cool, thanks Mercy, and that is CTV News for Monday. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jared McCulloch. Good evening.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.